coming up on Retiring Well with Michael Reese.
You can get literally all of your assets across that river and avoid probate altogether. Good estate planning avoids the river. Bad estate planning, oops, we got caught. It could have been all 300 grand going to Susie, who's in a lower tax bracket. She could have stretched it, it would have been great, because John screwed up the beneficiary arrangement. The IRS got it a free 150 grand.
As financial advisors, we look at it as that's part of our responsibility. It's not just left to you or your estate planning attorney. It's something where we need to be helped review that with you and make sure that everything's lined up the way it should be.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, where we believe your best is yet to come.
Welcome to Retiring Well. I'm your host, Michael Reese, and this week we are talking about estate planning. I know that seems a little dry to you. I'm telling you, this could be a great episode, though. I know you're really going to enjoy it. And we're going to start off with this first segment and really talk about the three biggest mistakes that everyday people are making with their estate planning. So here we go. Three big mistakes. I don't want you making any of these, all right? So here we go. Mistake number one. Your estate plan is either out of date or, well, let's be honest, you just don't have one. You know, I can't tell you how many times people, they watch the show, they call us up and say, hey, I want to come in for a second opinion. You know, it's funny, but we actually ask you questions about, well, when's the last time you've had your wills and trusts updated? Guess what the normal answer we get is? Is it ever, oh yeah, we just did that last year? Well, sure, that happens some of the time, or some of the time people have had their estate planning done the last couple of years, and that's great. But what do you think we get most of the time? Most of the time it's, we kind of, honey, didn't we do that like 5 or 6 years ago? And well, what is it really? It's not 5 or 6 years ago. It's more like 15 or 16 years ago. And especially if we get the documents, oh my goodness, it's hilarious. I mean, these things, half their children haven't been born yet. They did the estate, maybe they did the documents right before they went on that European trip or out of the country. It's out of date. And that's a problem. You've got to have an estate plan. I mean, it's kind of obvious. If something happens to you, you don't want there to be a mess left over. I mean, you want things to go smoothly, right? So you need to have an estate plan. We always tell our clients, look, every 3 to 5 years, let's get this updated. We actually help them track it to make sure they're on top of things. But the point is, mistake number one is just ignoring it, right? Don't ignore it. Let's get that done. All right, let's take a look at mistake number two. Mistake number two with estate planning is once you've got the estate planning created, then you don't go and retitle anything. You know, another way to say it is if you have a trust, you don't fund the trust. So in other words, hey, you go through the effort, you hire the attorney, you pay the attorney all that money, they give you this beautiful set of documents, usually in a 3-inch, 3-ring binder. It's big, it's impressive, and it's beautiful. Wow, look at that huge binder. I've got an up-to-date, my estate plan is awesome. It's up-to-date. It's got all the stuff covered. Wow! But here's the problem. If you don't actually go back and update things like your beneficiary arrangements or go to the bank and update your bank accounts and all that kind of stuff, if you don't update your assets, if you don't retitle them, that beautiful estate plan that you have, it's like, wow, look how beautiful it is. It's pretty much worthless. It's pretty much worthless because you didn't finish the job. My big pet peeve with attorneys, by the way, is it's pretty rare to find an attorney that actually finishes that job for you. And if they do finish that job, they tend to charge you a lot of money. It's usually up to you to finish the job, but they tell you, right? They tell you, they say, all right, John, Mary, here's what you need to do. Here's, go to your bank. Here's what you retitle it in, and go to your, financial accounts and retitle those and your insurance accounts. That's great. But if you don't do it, that beautiful estate plan is pretty much worthless. You paid all that money for nothing. So that's mistake number 2, not retitling or not updating your accounts to reflect your estate planning. All right, let's go to the biggest mistake we see, number 3. I'm going to talk more about this one. I'm going to give you a great example of this one later in the show, by the way. But mistake number 3 would be beneficiary titling errors. You know, what do I mean by that? If you have a 401k, if you have an IRA, life insurance, all that kind of stuff, you name beneficiaries. One of the biggest mistakes we see is you don't update them. I mean, the other day we had someone come in, they were on their 3rd marriage. This guy was on his 3rd marriage. Do you know who the beneficiary of his life insurance was? Wife number 1. He went through wife number 2 and didn't change that one. He's already on wife number 3, still isn't updated. That happens all the time. So anyway, I don't want you going anywhere. This is going to be a fun show, so stay right there. We're going to be right back.
The new Trump tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands on your IRA. Learn how to take advantage of the new law at a dinner evening with your Retiring Well TV hosts from Centennial Wealth Advisory. This is a no-cost, information-only, no-pressure event with a fine dining experience you won't soon forget. Important topics we'll discuss are 3 ways to use the new tax code to move money into tax-free accounts at reduced rates. Hidden tax-related pitfalls that most advisors are missing. The importance of managing risk and the effect of volatility on your retirement savings. The number 1 mistake most Americans are making with their retirement accounts. Are you one of them? And much more. Dinner is on us, and there is absolutely no obligation. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that is most convenient for you. Tuesday, March 6th, or Thursday, March 15th at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City, or Wednesday, March 7th at the Otsego Club and Resort in Gaylord. Presentations start at 6 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. Don't miss this important presentation and learn how the new tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Have you ever heard the 5% rule? Simple. Consistently earn 5% each year and then take 5% as income. Great, but in this new economy and market volatility, does it work? If I need 5% as income from my savings and the market drops 30% in 1 year, then the 5% I need now turns to 7.1%. Now I have to consistently get 7.1% or more or drop my income accordingly. If interested in a properly structured income plan, then please call the number on the screen.
Hi, this week in Chalk Talk, we are going to look at what I like to call the probate river. And it really has to do with estate planning. When you look at estate planning in general, here's you, and here's all the stuff that you have on this side of the river. Eventually, when you die, what you're trying to do is get the stuff that's in your name across the river to your beneficiaries' names. And that might be your family, it might be a charity, it might be friends, whoever your beneficiary is. And there is a default provision to get stuff across the probate river. And it's basically called probate, of course. So let's imagine you die and you have no estate planning done, right? You've done nothing. And we know of a lot of stars who died without an estate plan. Howard Hughes and Marilyn Monroe and all these other people. And there's a default option for those people who haven't done any planning. So if you haven't done any estate planning, this is what happens. You and your assets get to go into the probate river, right? And in fact, what happens is you get on the little dock out here and you get in this raft. Your assets go in this raft. And what's happening is the court is kind of in charge of that raft. You go through a process called probate, and the goal is to try to get this raft across the river as fast as possible. Of course, Doesn't always happen very fast because, sometimes this river has some turbulence. For example, beneficiaries don't agree and they raise their hands and say, that's not fair, I want to sue, or I want to have a proceeding. And before you know it, it doesn't go like this, it goes like this and eventually gets the other side of the river. And that's great that it gets across, but of course the longer it takes to go across, the bigger the attorney's fees, the more the attorneys get, the less the beneficiaries get. It can be a nightmare. Now, a lot of times people think, oh, I'm good. I don't have to worry about this because I have a will. I have a will. Well, we only have one small problem with a will. All that a will does is it tells the probate court what your wishes are. That's all it does. A will basically says to the probate court, this is kind of what I want to have happen. And that'll probably happen unless the beneficiaries want to fight about it and hire lawyers, and then who knows what happens. But a will pretty much guarantees probate. It guarantees that you're going to get on that raft. So estate planning, good estate planning, is all about saying, well, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to get on that raft. I don't want to go across the river on a raft. Instead, what I want to do is I want to build a bridge. Maybe I want to build a couple bridges. And the idea is that when you die, if you have a bridge, you can avoid all this crap. You can avoid all the nonsense, and you can get assets from your name to that other person's name, just like that, super fast. So, let's talk about what bridges we could build. One bridge here is going to be called the contract bridge. Well, what is a contract bridge? That sounds exciting. Sounds exciting to me. Anyway, a contract bridge is simply like an IRA or life insurance. Life insurance is a contract. An annuity is a contract. An IRA is a contract. A 401k is a contract. And in that contract, you can name beneficiaries directly. And you know what happens when you name those beneficiaries directly? Goes right across the bridge. Don't stop, don't worry about probate, you avoid it altogether. What's the other bridge a lot of people build? How about that, a trust bridge? Primary reason to have a trust is to avoid the probate river. That's a primary reason. A trust avoids probate, and it's private. If you have a couple bridges, contract bridge, a trust bridge, you can get literally all of your assets across that river and avoid probate altogether. Good estate planning avoids the river. Bad estate planning, oops, we got caught.
NMC Extended Education is introducing an educational class titled Retirement Secrets, Your Best Is Yet to Come. Our very own Larry Flynn will be the presenter. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, then this class is for you. Many things can threaten your ability to outlive your assets and retire well. The three big things being healthcare, inflation, and taxes. Learn to navigate the critical issues that a retiree must deal with. You'll learn how to plan for a predictable and sustainable income, minimize taxes on your IRAs, maximize your Social Security benefits, and avoid estate planning mistakes. We'll also discuss long-term care concerns and what investments are appropriate in different situations. The cost is only $69. Materials will be provided, and a spouse or guest may attend for free. The class will be held on 2 Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. for 3 hours, March 14th and March 21st at the NMC Great Lakes campus. Reserve your seats today by calling NMC at 231-995-1700. The class is called Retirement Secrets. Again, that number is 231-995-1700.
Welcome back. All right, I get to tell you a great story. Now, it's great for us because it didn't happen to you and me. It was really bad for the people it happened to, but it's a great story to learn from. And this is a story of how a mistake in beneficiary arrangements cost a family a ton of heartache and a ton of unnecessary tax and money. By the way, I've had this exact story now happen to me 3 times that we've seen. Obviously not our clients. Well, maybe a way to say is, it didn't happen from our client's side of things, but mistakes that other people made. And by the way, this mistake that I'm about to share with you, you know why mistakes happen with beneficiary arrangements? You know why this happens? Because financial advisors, dirty little secret, financial advisors don't get paid to help you with your beneficiary planning. They don't get paid, right, to help you there. And if they don't get paid there, guess what? They probably don't care about it. But you need to care about it. This is super important. So here we go. I've had this happen 3 times. I'll give you the most recent example. Had a client name, what's a good name for her, because I can't give real names, of course. Let's go with Mary, right? Client Mary. Mary was in her 2nd marriage. She's married to a very successful guy. They're doing great, right? Now, her 1st marriage did not do so well, of course. And when they got divorced, her ex-husband, let's call him John, right? John and Mary, I'm very creative these days. John had a 401k, all right? So John has a 401k. And of course, he had Mary named as the beneficiary in that 401k when they were married. They got divorced, and in the divorce agreement, it basically said the 401k goes to their only child, Susie, right? They have 1 daughter, we'll call her Susie. That's where the money goes. In addition to that, he had a trust put together because he didn't want Mary to get anything because, of course, Mary was the divorced, the ex-wife. He's like, look, I die. She doesn't get anything. I want it all to go to little Susie. I'm going to put together a trust. I'm going to make sure it goes to Susie. And he names Susie as the sole beneficiary of the trust, right? So, and the trust even said, my 401k goes to little Susie, right? So the trust says the 401k goes to little Susie. The divorce decree says my 401k goes to Susie. What didn't he change? Well, of course, his beneficiary arrangement on his 401k. He just left it as Mary because he figured, hey, I got this squared away. It's in the divorce decree. It's in the trust. I'm good. So Mary's still the beneficiary of the 401k, the ex-wife. She's now remarried to a great guy, very successful guy. Life is good until John dies. John dies. Now remember, the trust says that 401k is supposed to go where? Little Susie. The divorce decree says the 401k goes where? Little Susie. Mary, our client, knows that that 401k is supposed to go to little Susie. Where does the 401k go? Does it go to little Susie? No. It goes to Mary. Why does it go to Mary? Because it doesn't matter what the trust says. It doesn't matter what divorce decree says. It doesn't matter what anything says. All that matters is who is the listed beneficiary in the 401k. That supersedes everything. So the 401k went to Mary. Mary's like, well, wait a minute. It's not supposed to go to me. It's supposed to go to Susie. How do I get the money to Susie? She didn't want the money. She wanted to go to Susie. Well, had John in this example named Susie as a contingent beneficiary or a 2nd-line beneficiary, Mary could have said, you know what, I don't want it. Send it down the line. Susie's next. Just give it to her. And then Susie could have taken that 401k. She could have stretched it over time, managed taxes. It would have been glorious. However, Susie wasn't the secondary beneficiary. There was no secondary beneficiary or contingent beneficiary. It was just Mary. So Mary gets a 401k. How does Mary get the 401k to Susie? Well, only one way now. She's got to cash it in. What's the problem? She's married to this successful guy. What's their tax bracket? 40% plus. Half the money went to the IRS when she came. We're talking like 300 grand here. Half the money goes, when she has to cash it out, she gets 300 grand, 150 of it goes to the IRS and the state. The 150 left over now goes to Susie. It could have been all 300 grand going to Susie, who's in a lower tax bracket. She could have stretched it. It would have been great. Because John screwed up the beneficiary arrangement, the IRS got it up. A free 150 grand, yay for them. But the family got hurt. Don't mess this up. Talk to an advisor who can help you do this right. Right? This might be why you want to get that second opinion.
The new Trump tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands on your IRA. Learn how to take advantage of the new law at a dinner evening with your Retiring Well TV hosts from Centennial Wealth Advisory. This is a no-cost, information-only, no-pressure event with a fine dining experience you won't soon forget. Important topics we'll discuss are 3 ways to use the new tax code to move money into tax-free accounts at reduced rates, hidden tax-related pitfalls that most advisors are missing, the importance of managing risk and the effect of volatility on your retirement savings, the #1 mistake most Americans are making with their retirement accounts, are you one of them, and much more. Dinner is on us, and there is absolutely no obligation. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that is most convenient for you. Tuesday, March 6th, or Thursday, March 15th at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City, or Wednesday, March 7th at the Otsego Club and Resort in Gaylord. Presentations start at 6 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. Don't miss this important presentation and learn how the new tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
NMC Extended Education is introducing an educational class titled Retirement Secrets, Your Best is Yet to Come. Our very own Larry Flynn will be the presenter. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, then this class is for you. Many things can threaten your ability to outlive your assets and retire well. The 3 big things being healthcare, inflation, and taxes. Learn to navigate the critical issues that a retiree must deal with. You'll learn how to plan for a predictable and sustainable income, minimize taxes on your IRAs, maximize your Social Security benefits, and avoid estate planning mistakes. We'll also discuss long-term care concerns and what investments are appropriate in different situations. The cost is only $69. Materials will be provided, and a spouse or guest may attend for free. The class will be held on 2 Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. for 3 hours, March 14th and March 21st at the NMC Great Lakes campus. Reserve your seats today by calling NMC at 231-995-1700. The class is called Retirement Secrets. Again, that number is 231-995-1700.
I want to thank you for joining us again. My name is Larry Flynn. This is John Torbett. We are both advisors here at Centennial Wealth. And John, I just want to say, I love this subject of estate planning, okay? I mean, how many times we have clients come in and we're one of the first things we're talking about is, hey, do you have a proper estate plan in place, right?
Right. And it goes beyond just, do you have a will or a trust? I mean, there's so much more that goes beyond that as far as, especially like beneficiary designations and all of that, where too often we find there's mistakes that are being made that people aren't really aware of or they don't really think of, and it's vital to review that on a regular basis.
Right. I think of this family I knew. There was 4 kids. The dad had a life insurance plan he got years ago, right? And there's some whole life plan he had. Well, at that time when he set the beneficiary designations, he had 2 kids.
Oh no. Yeah.
So they were listed properly. Sure. Years go by, right? Another 2 kids have been added. Father passes away. Life insurance is being rolled out. Do you think those 2 kids shared half their money with the other 2 kids?
No, because it comes back to who you've designated as beneficiaries on those documents, and you see it a lot of times too in the case where divorce occurs, or even if a spouse passes away, then you're relying on what you had listed initially on that paperwork. But it's pretty simple to update. I mean, a lot on these different accounts that you have and everything. It makes it really easy to make those updates, but not everyone's bringing that to your attention.
Yeah.
So
I think our viewers need to understand that. And Mike talked a little bit about this in the show, but who you put down as the beneficiary trumps everything.
Right.
I mean, this even went to the U.S. Supreme Court, not Cork, but it went to the Supreme Court, and it was a 9-0 decision. So how many times do you see them have 9-0 decisions, right? This is solid. So whoever you put down as the beneficiary designation, that's the person that's going to get this, no matter what your trust or will or anything else says.
Yeah, and it's something too, Larry, where as financial advisors, we look at as that's part of our responsibility. It's not just left to you or your estate planning attorney. It's something where we need to be helped review that with you and make sure that everything's lined up the way it should be, so that way you're not unfortunately disinheriting someone that you want to leave assets to if you were to pass away. And it seems like whenever we bring up, well, do you have that? Oh no, I don't want to do that. It's like this sense that they have of, I'm not going to do that because otherwise I'm afraid something will happen to me.
Right.
Or sometimes you hear, oh, the costs are too much. Well, that's sort of what attorneys would prefer, sometimes if you don't do it, because then when it has to go into the court process, they make a lot more money helping you get through that timely process, and that's not at all what you want to be dealing with. So
I like what you said, John. I mean, it's the truth, right? I think psychologically, and this is a known fact, the older a person gets, the less likely they are to have an estate plan done, right? I think they feel like I'm no sooner going to plan for death, right? I'm going to get my will done, and I'm going to get hit by a cherry truck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially here in northern Michigan.
Right, here in northern Michigan. Here's another thing I think it's real important for our viewers to understand. A lot of times they'll be part of a 401k with a big company. I think of, for example, even Munson here in our local area, and where they had maybe one provider, and then that provider got changed. And many people just think that the beneficiary designations just automatically got moved over to the new company, right?
Right.
How many times have we found that was not the case?
Oh yeah, way too often. Or even if you're simply changing a bank account or something like that, or making a change on an investment account, whatever it may be, there's a whole new set of paperwork that needs to be filled out. And one of the things that I know, like we talk about a lot of times with clients, is on your bank accounts, that simple POD, payable on death, or TOD, transferable on death, whatever they use, is a simple way where you can designate a beneficiary on your bank account, so that wouldn't have to go through the whole probate court process. So
yeah, I think most people feel like they if we're talking about estate planning, they have to have a trust, right? Right. And there's plenty of tools today to possibly avoid that. But sure. Anyway, hopefully you found this subject interesting. It's something you should be talking to your advisor about. If you have any questions for us, John or I would be glad to meet with you to talk to you more about it. But again, thank you for joining us. Have a good day.